All right. How's everybody doing? I'm happy to be back again. For those of you that missed me the last few weeks, I was out in Oman on a setting up a franchise conference. So that was very interesting. But I am happy to be back doing these franchise spotlights again. So today I'm happy to have Mark Elson from HouseMaster on with us. This is a franchise that caught my eye as soon as it joined the International Franchise Professionals Group because part of its focus, because I do some real estate in my local area. So looking at the home inspection, you know that it's a market that's really not going to go away. The older these houses get, especially if you're in New England, the more essential it is that you get a good home inspector. But the second thing that caught my eye with it was the way that they've been around for so long and people are staying with their system and being successful. They've got second generation, even third generation franchisees. And that's something that I think, the staying power, the legacy building of a franchise is something that's very important to me. But I'm not going to rattle on and tell you about how great this franchise is because I'll let Mark, their director of franchise development, do that because he knows this franchise much better than I do, working it day in and day out. So go ahead, Mark.
Awesome. Thank you, Joel. I really appreciate you putting this on and inviting me out here tonight to do this presentation. And so, hey, listen, folks, before we get started, I just a quick and unashamed plug. So this is probably my 25th or 26th year in franchising. But I will say that when people come to me and say, hey, look, Mark, I want to talk to you about what franchise I should get into, and I want to explore, I want to learn, I'm happy to tell them about HouseMaster. But really what I end up doing is just turning them over to Joel. And the reason is because he knows so many different brands. He's got this fantastic process for taking people through in safe space to really be able to compare and learn and match up, kind of skills and desires and needs to the right franchise. So, again, Joel, thanks for having me here tonight. But hey, so if we were all in a room together, what I would say to you is, how many people in the room have been involved with a home sale or purchase that included a home inspection? And many hands, most hands would go up. And the reason is because in today's environment, 85 to 90% of homes that trade hands privately do so with a home inspection. Now, it wasn't always that way. We're a 40-year-old company. This is our 40th year franchising in the home inspection space, and very much we are the home inspection industry. A lot of things that are sort of standardized in today's home inspection field were very much pioneered by us. But back when we started, it wasn't so much why we should use HouseMaster. It was, what is a home inspection? Today, as I say, sort of 90% of homes get an inspection. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. But when you think about this industry, it's got some advantages to it. This industry, and so it's changed dramatically in that we use more technology and we're much more sophisticated in the way we do home inspections. But on the flip side, we still really do home inspections the way we always did. It takes a person with two eyes and a knowledge of how to do a home inspection to go out and do it. We can't turn this over to technology. Google isn't going to come out and take over home inspections. It's not going to get outsourced to a third party. It's still being done the same way that it was, 40 years ago. You've got to go out and look at a home. And 40 years from now, it'll still be done the same way. It's just the reality of our business, and it makes it a really nice business to be in. Of course, as technology changes, we'll get more sophisticated and we'll stay in front of that. But really, you got to do a home inspection with eyes and a person looking at the house. So here we are celebrating our 40th year in the industry, and today 320 locations across the U.S. and Canada, and continuing to grow. But the other thing that's really interesting about our industry is, despite its age, it's still really dominated by a man in a van, individuals who are out there doing home inspections. And in no way am I knocking individuals who go out and start a home inspection business, but as a general rule, there's a certain it's difficult to compete with a franchise. It's difficult to compete with us. It's very hard to have, I'm a guy who does home inspections. It's very hard to have your own marketing department, and it's very difficult to stay up with the technology and continue to change the way things happen. We have, departments that are designed to do that. We stay ahead. We look better. We're more professional. Our systems work better. And that has allowed us to, as I say, break into 320 locations or break into new markets 320 times and gain market share. So that's a little bit about the industry itself. But let's look or talk about the business and the business that we have in particular. So here's some nice things about it. It's relatively low investment, extremely high margins, very low overhead. So what I mean is this. When we go, we don't have bricks and mortar. We don't have to build out a location, so we don't have overhead of rent. We sure don't sell anything in the way of product, so we don't have to turn inventory. And even as far as what we do when we're at somebody's home, we don't really even stay there to repair anything. We do an estimate, or I'm sorry, an inspection. It takes about 2 hours, give or take, and easily an inspector can knock out 2 of those a day. I was just down with my franchisee in Florida. Now he's been at this a while, but he averages 3 to 4 inspections a day. And here's the interesting thing about it: those inspections, on average, if you look across the country, are $485. Our average inspection fee is. So there's definitely money to be made, but the margins are high because we don't have a lot of overhead. That makes this a really simple business. Get up, go out, do 2 inspections a day, go home, and sleep really, really well. But other franchisees, some of our franchisees, have figured out. Let me get this to go forward. We'll flip the slides before I get ahead of myself. Some of our franchisees have figured out how to parlay that into a much bigger business. So when you look at our franchisees, okay, our average franchisee this year has been with us for 14 years. On average, our franchisees have been with us for 14 years. That's very unusual in franchising. But 20% of our franchisees have been with us 20 years or longer, and that's continuing to grow. Additionally, we have about 22, 23 individual locations that are second, and now we even have third-generation home inspectors. So when you think about this, right, people don't stay in the business this long if it isn't making money, if it isn't something they like to do, and they sure as heck don't turn it over to their kids if it isn't a good business and something worth getting into. But the way the individual franchisees run their business really varies. There's a lot of opportunity to kind of do what you want to do with it. So as I mentioned, right, some of our franchisees have gotten up every day for the last 20 years, do 2 home inspections, go home, sleep really, really well, and that's fine. Other franchisees have decided that they want to build a business, and we have folks with 10 trucks and 15 inspectors. Everything in between is supported. Whatever it is that your goals are, we want to see you reach that. Keep it simple. Keep it light, that's fine. Build something bigger, that's great. And we can give you the design and the plan for all of that. So we're talking about inspections now. So maybe this is a good time to talk about what our franchisees do. What do our franchisees do? As I see it, our franchisees really do 3 things. And the first thing that our franchisees do is home inspections. So this is important to understand, but the way we like to start this business off is to help our franchisees become recognized, licensed inspectors in the state where they're going to operate. And so we have a complete training system, a complete course. You'll come to, it actually starts 4 weeks before you ever come to training. We're going to line up all of the details, help you work through all of the processes, get your insurance, get your marketing materials lined up, get your business set up. But once we spend time getting all that done, so the business is lined up, we're going to bring you to our training facility in New Jersey. And you'll be at that New Jersey training facility for 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, we're going to take the first third of that training, and we're going to make sure you know how to do the marketing, follow the marketing programs and systems. You're going to make sure that we have your website set up, that you understand how to work the IT systems that we have to run the business. We're going to make sure that you know how to interact with clients and talk to realtors. But the second two-thirds are really dedicated to teaching the craft of home inspections, and we work under the guidelines of NIBI, the National Institute of Building Inspectors, which is only important because it is recognized by most states, and we have certified NIBI inspectors right in our training facility. The guy who runs training has been doing this for 40 years, and so when you leave training, you really are qualified to go out and do home inspections. I'll stop short of saying confident. It takes a little time to go out there and kind of feel really good about it, but you are qualified to go out and do home inspections. And so that's where our franchisees start. We want them to go out and learn to do home inspections in the area where they live. Now, once you get to a point where you're doing 2 a day, maybe that's all you want to do. Maybe you want to do 1.5 a day, or and then you can bring in another part-time inspector, another full-time inspector, 2 more inspectors, 3 inspectors, whatever it is that you want to do, or stop, or just sort of say, hey, it's big enough for me, I'm good. But again, it's really about the individual's goals, and starting out as an inspector helps you to be able to grow. Your guys will, the folks that you hire to do inspections, you will know exactly what they're doing. If someone calls in sick, you can fill in. It's a really great way to build a business. And so, home inspections, that's the first thing our franchisees do. One thing I didn't mention here, we do home inspections during daylight hours. So, this isn't an evening business. We do home inspections. Most of what we inspect or most of the time we end up inspecting, it's inside. So we get the advantage of air conditioning and heat. If you want to work Saturdays, there's plenty of work to do. If you don't want to work weekends, that's your call. If you want to take off Friday afternoons to go play golf, that's your business. But it does give you a lot of flexibility. Because we don't retain retail hours, we don't have to be in one fixed location at one particular time, we can schedule around our needs and goals and desires. Perfectly fine. So inspections, that's the first thing our franchisees do. Let's talk about the second thing our franchisees need to do. Now, we have a really strong national marketing program. Our national marketing program includes a couple of things. We're going to make sure that we have our national website set up with search engine optimization. We're always pushing the national website. Additionally, each one of our franchisees gets their own subsite that they're going to operate. We'll set that up for them. Too early. We're going to set that up for them, and then all of our franchisees have the ability to continue to adjust and put in their own pictures or whatever. But even if you never touch your website, it will be up and operating and dragging the internet for folks looking for home inspections. We have a fantastic PR firm. They've gotten us national coverage on a lot of the big networks. They get us local coverage. We do quite a bit with social media. And so our company will handle your social media for you. So if you never touch your social media again, you'll have a great looking social media presence. You still have the ability to go in there and do your own updates. So a lot of the marketing is done for you. But the reality of our business is this. Most inspections happen as a result of a realtor giving a referral to someone who is buying a home, and that potential home buyer calls us the inspector. So what that means for our new franchisees especially is that there's a certain amount of networking that has to happen with realtors. Our franchisees have to get out there and build relationships with realtors, retain relationships with realtors. It's not hard to do. I mean, realtors are out there doing exactly what we do. They're gregarious, they're outgoing, they're out networking. So they do exactly what we do. It's easy to find them. They're in their offices, they're at open houses, and the product that we're bringing them, they use all the time, and we're not selling them anything. We're just saying, look, when the guy you're already using to do home inspections gets busy, when he's booked out 2 weeks, when he's on vacation, give us a try. And when you do, you'll use us again. And you know what? They will. We do some things better. We communicate better. We deliver the home inspection better. We have additional services after the inspection that make us better. And and so much of what we do is really around, of course, we're going to give a fantastic inspection to the home buyer, but so much of what we do is really around making the realtor's life better too. We know how they operate, we know what they want, we know how they work, and so we're really tuned to what they need. Once they use us, they'll use us again. But networking with realtors is a big piece of it. The third thing our franchisees do is run a business. Again, it's not complicated, but somebody's got to make sure that the bills got paid and that the insurance is up to date and the car oil got changed. But that's really what our franchisees do. So let's talk a little bit about two things. I want to talk first about results. Our average franchisee, single unit franchisee, our average franchisee does 295,000 in home inspections annually. Keep in mind that we're a very high margin business. What expenses are there against that? There's some insurance, there's some gas. Of course we have expenses, but we don't really have a specific cost of goods that lists out against doing a job. We go in there, we do an inspection. It's electronic, it's digital, it's our time, it's our expertise. But again, we get to hold on to a large chunk of our total income. And also, so I've taken out the names of our competitors here, chain A, chain B, chain C, but you would, you'd quickly learn the names of some of the other folks that are big in the industry. What's important here is that we outperform, our single unit outperforms all of our competitors pretty dramatically. Chain A is a very good competitor, but we're what? We're 60 grand per unit higher volume than they are. We know some stuff. We've been around. We've figured out how to market to people. Just to touch on that marketing piece one more time, you don't have to figure out how to go out and market. It's a paint by numbers kit. We'll tell you exactly what to say, what piece to drop off, what leave behind month by month. Our marketing coaches will help you figure out where to go, how to follow up, solve the problems. It just takes some feet on the street to execute the plan. And so, as you can see from the results here, obviously, we've figured some of that out. Just as a side note on this, for our multi-unit franchisees, the average gross is $630,000, or at least it was last year. It's up a little bit, and we haven't published the new numbers, but about $630,000 in home inspections. Now, either one of those, 295, 978, that relates to a very nice income by my standards. Let's keep talking about a couple of different things, and we'll call this one done. But so here we are, a home inspection company. Just a couple of quick things to note. A few years ago, we were curious how we were doing. So we hired a company to do what's called a Net Promoter Score review, and we do this every year with our clients. Net Promoter Score simply asks two questions. Question one, would you use this company again? Question two, would you refer them to a friend? And they said to us, look, you're a service company, you're a franchise. We would like to see you guys at about 50% Net Promoter Score, but don't worry about it. We've got some tricks, to help you with your customer service. Well, when they came back, what they came back with was not 50%, but 92%. We're actually at 92% Net Promoter Score this year. Just as a comparison, companies that are really, really good at customer service, Apple's about 81, Harley Davidson's about 79, and here we are at 92% Net Promoter Score. We've figured out what the customer wants, and we figured out how to train franchisees to go out and deliver it consistently, time and time again. And that's why we've been here as long as we have, and that's why we'll continue to be here. Who are we looking for? Look, you don't need to be an engineer by any standard. Most of our folks came out of corporate America. This is their second career. We love it. If you do need some understanding of how a house is put together. In other words, if you've never picked up a hammer in your own home, maybe you're not a fit, but we really, really don't need engineers. We don't need construction people. We can teach you how to do home inspections if you have a basic understanding of the home and its basic construction. More important than that, more important than experience around a house, is someone who is motivated. You're going to have to get up every day and go out and drive. You're going to have to get up every day and be social, talk to people, build friendships, chat with homeowners. So having some verbal and communication skills is really important here. It does take consistent marketing. So I mean, if talking to people just if you've never ever want to talk to somebody again, right? You just want to lock in an office and crunch numbers. Maybe not this business, maybe not in business for yourself in general. But those are the kinds of things that we're looking for. Let's finish this off with the investment level. So our franchise fee is $42,500. That's everything that makes you a franchisee. And for our veterans, thank you for your service. We do give a 15% discount on that franchise fee. There's some additional expenses to get the business started. Now, the franchise fee will get you trained. It'll get you access to all our IT systems, our online estimating program, our online delivery systems, our HouseMaster management system for running the business. All that's part of the franchise fee, the training and the ongoing support. But you're still going to need to do something about a vehicle, a truck, a little wagon, something to drive to your inspections with. You're going to need to get some insurance. You're going to need to buy some additional tools, maybe a computer. But all in with this investment, we estimate 60 to about 100. Very, very realistic to get into this business for about $75,000. And so, again, 75 seems to be the consistent point for investment. And so we'll leave it here, right? This is a quote from a different Florida franchisee, but he says, when you're a HouseMaster franchisee, you're at the pinnacle of your game. You essentially breathe excellence. You're separated from the rest of the industry. You have colleagues and friends in the franchise family that'll help you get to the places that you need to be, and you're just not going to get that anywhere else. And that's John McVean out in Port St. Lucie, Florida. With that, Joel, I'm going to kick it back to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing all that with us. I got to say that even having seen one of your webinars before, I'm impressed all over again. I think this is a great opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen some other stuff about your franchise and like some of the ways that you do work to really reach customers where they're at even after the inspection and really just go the extra mile. And I think what you do is really impressive. And as I sit here right now, I'm actually doing this webinar from my real estate office. And I can tell you that the real estate's in my office, if we had a HouseMaster franchisee, just for some of your post closing services alone, they'd probably be referring people to you guys. We got to get one of you guys in our area.
Hey, let's do it. I'm all for it. No, you're right. I mean, one of the things that I find really interesting, or that I'm really excited about, is, look, we're 40 years old, but we're definitely not stagnant. I mean, we're still at the cutting edge of technology and changes in the industry, and coming up with new ways to bring value. So, yeah, thank you for noticing all that.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about franchising myself. Is people that get into business, it's hard enough just to get into business, and then you have to worry about innovating. In some ways, getting involved in a franchise like this is you're outsourcing innovation. You're basically saying, let me do my job, and you figure out how I can keep doing my job better. So it lets you really just kind of focus.
Joel, that is so spot on. That is so spot on, because look, our guys are out there all day doing home inspections. Meantime, back at the corporate office, we've got one guy who's working on the next iteration of the inspection software. Another guy's learning about making sure that we're staying ahead of the competition as we're doing this. Another guy's working on a new program, and none of that would happen for someone who's in the business by themselves.
Yeah. I haven't seen any questions come in, so if you're watching this on a replay and you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you're watching this replay, then I'm sure you have a way to contact me via email or Facebook. But thank you for coming on, Mark, and I I wish you well, and you can definitely count on me to be a HouseMaster promoter.
And right back at you. I'll be a Joel promoter. So thank you so much. Really appreciate this evening. Appreciate everybody being on this call tonight, and would love to talk to you more about HouseMaster.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and everyone have a good night.
Good night, all.